Okay, this is kind of more specific. So, let's see. What are the top 3 changes you would make once president? Be specific and explain how you would implement these changes.
Okay. I think that this kind of goes back to the critical areas question in a way.
Yeah, I guess it's more like, what are the, so the first one was how you're addressing those areas, or you identify them, so what are you going to actually do about it?
Okay, so as far as budgeting goes, that would definitely need to happen like as soon as the new board is implemented. I would think that we need to sit down, we need to go through all the events that happened this year, like find out how much they cost, if they could cost less in the future or more, you know, depending on expected turnout, etc. And then really look at how much money has fluctuated in our bank account. Because like at the high point, our checking account had upper $12,000 in it, which is a lot of money. And you know, right now we have more money than we did at the end of last year sitting in our bank account that can definitely be used next year, and even still some of it could be used this year. And I feel like sometimes when we're going through funding, we don't realize that we should be doing it from like a different account, and we're not like splitting up, because I don't know if all of you are aware, but there's like, what, like 8 or 9 different places you can get funding from, or maybe even more than that. And so it's really just making sure that each event has like a specific place to go to for money, and knowing how much it's going to cost, kind of. So that would be one, would be the budgeting, and that would be what I do about it. 2 would be the standard order procedures, like I said, and that would just be going down on the line of things that we've had issues with. One being, we do have some like issues with communication sometimes. Like I know we have like a bunch of community affairs events coming up, and you know, not everyone knows what dates they're going to be, and maybe someone forgets to enter in the Google Doc or whatever it's called. Google Form. There you go. And Anne did this thing earlier this year where she like had like a specific event that got sent right to you. They could export to your calendar, and it's the first time I've seen anyone do that, and I thought it was really effective personally. So I think that that's something that we could implement, because I think everyone uses Gmail. If not, then we'll move on. But and then the last thing would be what Molly had said before, is really trying to build a more communal feeling within our leadership, and definitely implementing more leadership training, which I think we talked about a lot this year, and having opportunities to have the leadership coaches from our region come down and really work with us so that we can achieve our full potential and effectiveness.
Okay, so let's see, my top 3 changes. That would go back to the critical areas, improving upon those because they're critical. Definitely, I would want to have like an algorithm for everything that we do. When we're planning events, when you're applying for funding, when you're making a Facebook page, everything has an algorithm to it. While it might seem something like we're micromanaging or we're over planning, things like that are things that can let you reflect on how to make things better, and it's a good way to improve and see places for improvement. And so what I would want is to have an algorithm for literally everything that we're doing, for what people are doing in their job, and then what committee members are doing, and what committees are supposed to be doing as a whole. Just have a goal for basically everything that we're doing. That would be something within the board to increase the cohesiveness of the board. Another change that I would put up there was probably, I've talked about this before, it's to increase our presence on campus. We're really big in Viterbi. We're like hot shots in Viterbi, but like we should be hot shots at USC, because having a bigger presence on campus does great things for any organization. And so if we have a bigger presence on campus, then more people know about us, more people join us, people talk highly about us, word gets everywhere, and things like sponsorship and funding, that affects that immensely. So I would increase our presence on campus by publicity, not just within Viterbi, but school-wide publicity. Things like people receive emails from the lead people, like Heather Larrabee. We have planners. We have lots of avenues for school-wide publicity that we can utilize that maybe we're not utilizing right now, and that will affect everything that we're doing. And then also another change that I would really want to make is I want to become more connected with the national organization of SWE. I just learned more about it this year when I was attending conference, and it's like really cool. And I didn't know that you can be a SWE after you go to college. This isn't like a college thing. This is like a for life thing. And so, yeah. So, you know, I think this is really cool, and I want everyone to know about that. And so I want to become more involved with the national organization, have them become more involved with our section with workshops and things that they sponsor themselves for us. And so, yeah, I'd like to reach out to them a lot more.
Okay, so that finishes the prepared questions. Are there any questions, more questions from the audience? Any more questions?
Okay, if you are not elected president, what will you do in SWE? Like, how will you stay involved next year?
Be a super creeper and creep around all the time.
Go back to the subway.
Right? I'll be that person.
Actually, hopefully we'll be appointed to the e-board still. In which case, we can continue to contribute even though not in like the,
The creep. Oh, I mean, still.
Any more questions here?
What has been like your most favorite event or most favorite like thing that you've done with SWE so far?
Palm Springs was for me. I had so much fun, personally. I mean,
explain more.
Yeah. Okay, I can explain more. Well, one, we road trip down there, and I hadn't really spent like that much quality time, I guess, with the people in my car.
What is
Regional
it?
conference.
Oh, regional. Oh, it was in Palm. It's like you want me to describe what that is?
Like regional conference, because people don't know like Palm Springs. Why do we go there?
Oh, okay. Regional conference is an opportunity for the 31 collegiate sections of Region B. We're Region B070 to share best practices, communicate, attend leadership and professional building workshops, and hear keynote speakers speak and hear inspirational speakers speak. And it's an opportunity for SWE, the region of SWE, to honor lifetime members and members that have been around since like 1960.
They're like more than that. Like
Yeah,
they've
earlier.
been members for like 50 years. So
It's
Slide
just
rules, people.
yeah. It was just a great opportunity to really kind of network with other Region Beers and kind of feel the Region B spirit of camaraderie and such.
And why did you like that personally?
Well, I like it because A, you really get to know kind of what other sections are about and what you're lacking at and what you're exceeding other people at. Like, I had no idea that a lot of other sections don't get corporate sponsorship and have to like go out and like hustle. And by hustle, I mean mow lawns and things like that. Which I'm really happy we don't have to do, because clearly companies want our, support and potential employer-ness, whatever that word is. But, yeah. So there you go. So basically, it's just kind of an awesome experience to interact with these other collegiate sections.
Okay, let's see. My favorite event, I mean, like, I could talk about the national conference. It's kind of like the regional conference, but bigger with everyone. All of SWE, and that was in Orlando in November when we went. That was really awesome. We got to meet the president, the national president of SWE. But okay, wait, not to I'll pick another event besides conference though. I think one of my favorite events though was my first year when I was on the student affairs committee, and we put on Charm School. I think that's like when my love started with SWE, because it was like the coolest event, and I like helped put it on with my other student affairs people, and you know who you are, and it was and so it was really when I realized just how great of an organization we are. And I just remember going and the day of, and when we were starting planning, and literally everyone knew what they were doing. They had their job, they were like getting things together, they were putting sign-up sheets, putting up the banner, people were getting their workshops ready and like uploading stuff. It was just like a little orchestra all working together, and I was just like, God dang, this is great. And like, so it just really made me realize that the people who are part of SWE are really great people who work hard and do a really great job at what they do, and that we put on really cool events because it was really fun, it was interesting, it was relaxed, you got to hang out with reps, you know, we had like a fashion show, and I think that was definitely my favorite event. So,
Cool.
yes.
Awesome.
Another question.
Okay. What like role or job or event do you think has contributed most to preparing you to become president?
Awesome question.
Like within SWE, or like not within SWE.
Either.
Or yeah, just like the one that's most prepared you.
We're doing the switchy back thing, right?
It's all you.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, the position that's most prepared me for being president has definitely been being on the executive board this year. Being WSA liaison, you really get to learn the inner workings of SWE and how SWE works behind the scenes and every decision that needs to be made when you're on the executive board, because we sit there and we think of those questions and we answer them. We together as a board, it's really interesting to see just how everything is working together. And I think since being on the executive board, I really have a better understanding of how SWE works. Before, it was just kind of like I had my one little job and I did it, and that was my part in SWE. But being on the executive board and then being WSA liaison has really prepared me, especially because being in WSA, I have to go to the WSA meetings. That's the Women's Student Assembly. And I'm the representative for SWE, so I'm kind of like SWE's face to them and to the rest of program board, and that's really taught me how to speak about SWE, speak about what we're doing and what we need to get done, and it's really forced me to become really involved in every event at SWE because I have to speak about it at WSA, and it's also forced me to know what it's like to be the person representing SWE. So I think that's something that's really important in being president. I talked for like 5 minutes. Sorry.
You said position within SWE, right?
Anything, just like what has prepared you most?
Okay. Well, I mean, if I were to go with anything in the world, then honestly it would probably be my experience being the manager and coach of my comedy sports team in high school, because never in my life have I been put on the spot in more situations and had to plan as many events. And like I can see a lot of correlations after having served on the E-board, but like obviously being on the E-board, like Molly said, gives you great insight into the inner workings, and I would have no idea what was going on if it weren't for that. I couldn't have just popped in and been like, I don't know, you know. So I mean, you know, it takes a whole bunch of life experiences to get to the point where you feel comfortable taking on that big of a leadership position. Yeah, I definitely think that my work on the E-boards contributed more than my work in the region, because I still would have no idea.
And you're the Region B RCCE, right?
Yes.
Which means you
Which
do.
means-
Yeah, which means this could go on a really long time. But in short, I essentially support the Region Collegiate team and the Region Collegiate representatives in their communicating information to the 31 collegiate sections. Say collegiate a couple more times. And my main role is effectively putting all of the documentation and necessary forms online so that they're accessible to all the collegiate sections, and to post relevant information online. And then I'm supposed to help them back up any duties that they can't fulfill because of other time commitments.